Welcome to the Trail Running Briefing, the podcast for trail runners who want to understand their training and run better. Each week, one clear idea to help you train smarter, stay durable, and perform when it matters. Episode 8. Why Zone 3 is so misunderstood. Here's the myth. Zone 3 is junk training. A lot of runners have heard that. Stay easy or go hard. Avoid the middle. Don't drift into that gray zone. And on the surface, that sounds sensible. But here's the problem. For trail runners, and especially for runners in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, that idea can become too simplistic, because when Zone 3 is used with intention, not by accident, it can be one of the most useful tools in training. And when it is combined with a touch of Zone 4, it can help you build endurance, improve climbing strength, and learn to deal with lactate without needing to rely so heavily on very fast high impact sessions. That fits well with what we know about threshold work, lactate metabolism, and training intensity distribution. The core idea is simple. Zone 3 is misunderstood because people confuse moderate intensity with useless intensity. They are not the same thing. Zone 3 sits around that strong, controlled, sustainable effort where you are working properly but not sprinting, not straining, and not falling apart. In physiology terms, this is often close to the area around lactate threshold or maximal lactate steady state, which is strongly linked to endurance performance because it reflects the highest intensity you can maintain without lactate rising out of control. That matters because endurance racing, especially long trail racing, is not only about top-end speed. It is about how much work you can do at a strong but sustainable effort. That is why threshold-related measures have been so useful in endurance sport for decades. There is also another reason Zone 3 gets misunderstood. People still talk about lactate as if it is just a problem to tolerate. But the work of George Brooks and others has shown that lactate is not simply a waste product. Lactate is continuously produced even under fully aerobic conditions, and it can be shuttled and oxidized as a fuel. In other words, the body can reuse it. That is why combining a little Zone 4 with Zone 3 can make so much sense. A short push into Zone 4 increases glycolytic demand and raises lactate production. Then, when you settle back into Zone 3, instead of stopping completely, you are still working hard enough to keep consuming oxygen and keep the aerobic machinery switch on. Practically, you are teaching the body to keep moving well while dealing with and reusing that lactate. That idea fits closely with lactate shuttle theory and with interval training principles used in endurance sports. So, the issue is not that zone 3 is bad. The issue is that too much moderate work done without purpose can crowd out the easy running you need and the harder work you may also need. That is one reason studies on training intensity distribution often show advantages for approaches that keep most training easy while using moderate and hard work deliberately rather than accidentally. Zone 3 is not junk, and controlled training distribution is the real junk. What people usually get wrong is one of two things. First, they do zone 3 by mistake. Their easy days drift too hard, but not hard enough to create a clear purpose. That is where the grey zone criticism often comes from. It is not planned. It is not planned a threshold work. It is just poor intensity control. Second, they avoid zone 3 completely because they have been told it does not count. For a trail runner, that can be a mistake. Trail races are full of long climbs, terrain changes, and sustained efforts where you are not jogging easily, but you are also not sprinting. A well-placed zone 3 session can prepare you for exactly that kind of demand. So, what should you do instead? Use zone 3 on purpose. For example, you can use longer intervals in zone 3, 20 minutes, 2 times 20 minutes, or up to 2 times 30 minutes, where the focus is control, strength, and sustainable output. Interval in zone 4, say 4 times 4 minutes at zone 4, then 10 to 20 minutes at zone 3 to train the body to use the produced lactate as fuel. Uphill intervals, where the terrain naturally reduces impact and helps you work hard aerobically without the same pounding as flat out speed on the flat. That last point is especially important for older runners. I'll be careful not to claim that zone 3 automatically prevents injury because the direct evidence for that exact statement is limited. But it is reasonable to say that controlled uphill or threshold style intervals can let a runner build intensity with less mechanical aggression than repeated all-out speed sessions, which may be particularly useful when recovery is slower with age. And more broadly, keeping training robust in masters athletes also depends on strength and sensible progression, not just intensity choice. So the practical model is this. Most of your week stays easy. Some of your week becomes purposeful, zone 3, and occasionally Zone 4 is used as a spice, not the whole meal. That overall thinking is much more aligned with the evidence than either extreme view of everything easy or smash every session. So here is the sentence to remember. Zone 3 is only junk when it has no purpose. If it is planned well, it becomes one of the best ways to build strong, sustainable trail running fitness. And here is the rule of thumb. Do your easy runs properly easy, do your hard work deliberately, and use Zone 3 as a tool, not as a place you drift into by accident. That is where it becomes powerful. That's today's trail running briefing. Understand your training, apply it on the trail, and run better.